I want to make two key disclosures as we get started this evening. First of all, I am not a digital media specialist. I want to make that disclosure to you this evening. I do not have a marketing background. As a matter of fact, I am a trade lawyer who is an impact entrepreneur and who has a lot of experience and interest in coaching businesses that have an impact orientation. I have an interest in helping businesses leverage platforms that will enable them grow, that will enable them generate business and return. So why do I have an interest, specific interest in social media? Why the interest? Number one is because I know that when businesses know the reason for their existence, they are able to communicate their value well. They are able to leverage platforms by communicating their value and generating a return. And this evening, we'll talk a lot about value. The second disclosure I have to make to you is that just like many of you, until not so long ago, I was completely, anti full utilization of the social media spaces. I could not get myself to tell my story. Neither would I get myself to go out on social media platforms and pitch for business. So there could be some of you here who have a certain mindset concerning social media. There are some who actually think this is not the platform for them. Some even have a perception that these are not holy streets, and therefore we should not be engaging on them. People think different things concerning digital platforms. But today I want to try and debunk some of those myths. I want to try and deal with some of the things that we think about these streets, give you some numbers, give you some figures that will hopefully provoke you to see how best you can utilize this space. So how did I beat my own fear? How did I deal with my own inadequacies around utilizing social media? This is what I did. I sought help. I reached out to a coach, not even one, not two, but three. I have 3 different consultants on this issue alone. One here in Kenya, one in Israel, and one in the US. And these guys taught me how to utilize the different tools that they are for maximum exposure and for a return. At the end of this webinar, I want to give you an opportunity as well to take action like I did. I will tell you how you can get equipped and how you can begin to show up and to show up regularly and in an impactful way. What I will do at the end of this webinar is to present to you an opportunity to do exactly what I did. So let's get into it. Many of you know TD Jakes. Very recently, TD Jakes released his newest book. It is called Don't Drop the Mic. This book is on effective communication. He initially began writing it with church leaders in mind. But if you read that book like I have, you realize that the topic of communication is one that is relevant for business leaders across. It's not just in the church, it's not just on the pulpit, it's in the boardroom. It is out in the marketplace. It's when we negotiate. It's for us at home, how we communicate to our spouses and our children, how we handle our interpersonal relationships, the subject of communication. One of the things that he says, and you will find this on the cover of the book, is that the power of your words can change your world. Every day you're going to communicate anyway. So how are you communicating in a way that gives you leverage? Are you able to utilize different platforms to communicate in a way that changes the platform for you or that changes your world? When you refuse to take the platforms in front of you, what you're doing in essence is you're relinquishing your power and deferring your dreams. If you refuse to take advantage of the platforms presented to you, essentially what you're doing is saying, I don't want to own the power that I have. Or, I can wait another day, another year. I can defer this dream. And like for many people, as we all know, I can die with this dream. That's what you're doing when you refuse to leverage platforms that are in front of you. We are living in a critical time in history. Individuals, enterprises, church groups, entrepreneurs across the board, everybody needs to accept the mic. Jake says, do not drop the mic. Everybody needs to accept the mic that they have on their respective platforms. This is what you need to know, that your voice is needed, and it is needed now more than ever. Do not drop the mic. So, digital platform, essentially this is a digital environment which consists of, web application, it could be mobile applications. And essentially what they do is allow or enhance connectivity between two different sets of users. And we all know that there are different platforms. When we say digital platform, it is a whole ecosystem. We have social media platforms, which we'll spend a lot talking about today. We have media sharing platforms such as YouTube, Spotify, and many others. We have knowledge platforms such as Quora, and some of you, especially those in research, know that we utilize this knowledge platform frequently. Then we have the service-oriented platforms such as Uber and the like, Airbnb, or similar platforms. We even have sales and e-commerce platforms such as the Alibaba, the what else? Put it for me in the chat because I know you know them. The e-commerce platforms. So this is the ecosystem that forms what we would in one term call digital platforms. Every time I teach or train entrepreneurs on utilizing digital platforms, I focus a lot on a model that I call the VIP model. I first learned about this model from one of my coaches a few years back. And I'm going to dwell a little bit here because if you forget anything else I said tonight, I would like for you to remember the VIP model. V is for value, I is for impact, and the P is for profit, or in our context today, income. Value. Remember this, and for those of you who are taking notes, this is important for you to know. Your ability to leverage digital media for effective communication starts with knowing your value. This is where you start. It is principle. It is the most important component, even in determining what your communication strategy will be, whether it is online or offline. Who are you? What do you have to offer? The moment you know what you have to offer, you immediately diminish your competition. If you know what your brand stands for and what your brand value is, then you do not play to the competition. The market will always pay you according to your value. The market will always pay you according to the value that you project. You can learn from others, you can benchmark, you can look around what's happening, but you cannot compete. Why? Because you have an intrinsic, unique value that is different from everybody else in your space. If you are a consultant like myself, or if you're a coach, or if you are in the manufacturing space, even if you and your neighbor are manufacturing the same product, you need to know what is the value, what is the brand promise, what is it that you give to your customer that nobody else can compete with you on? Is it how you handle their cases? Is it how you meet their needs? Is it your turnaround time? Is it your response rate? Even if you're employed, you need to know, even if you're a department of 6 people, say in human resource, what is it that is so unique about you? You might have the same title as your colleague, but what is it that is so valuable about you? The moment you begin to value yourself, you start to value your voice. And this is a sad thing. If you do not value your own voice, you become controlled by the voices of others. And we see this happening a lot on social media. This is what scripture says, Proverbs 29:25. There is a particular version that says, and I love it, it says, the fear of man is a trap to our life's purpose. The moment you elevate other voices above your own, and I'm not talking about honor, there is a distinct difference between honor and allowing other voices to control you. And you need to make that difference. The way to begin to value others actually is to value yourself, value your input, value what you bring to the table, value what is unique about you. This is important. Value creates influence in the marketplace. You have to bring value. When you come to a social media platform and you want to use that platform for business or for growing your brand or for enhancing your impact, for enhancing your influence, and you begin to speak from a place of having recognized your value, and your value is your expertise, your value is your unique offering, that essentially, eventually, as you build a following, enables you to create influence in your industry. No one can give you your value. If you don't identify your value for yourself, chances are you will live a long life and, God forbid, die without ever having known what your true value is. On social media spaces, on those streets, do not seek to feed off the acclamation of others. What this means is that you cannot post or you cannot share your value seeking to be validated. And this is why it's really important to know what your offering is. Because the same way social media can elevate, honestly, it can also expose you to the naysayers and those who give you negative feedback. Important for you to note, you don't have to feel valuable to be valuable. How do we know you have value? We have entered, and Irene has alluded to it, we have entered the knowledge economy. How do you become an expert? Or how do you position yourself as an expert? It is what you know that the next person next to you doesn't know. You don't have to feel valuable, because many of us, even on this call, often are dealing with the imposter syndrome. You know, that constant thing that asks you, hey, who told you you're the best at this? Casey, who told you can come and train on digital platforms? But why not? I have invested in learning about this. Why not teach the next person? So know your value. It is critical. Impact and income have a habit of following value. You cannot be chasing income when you have not demonstrated your value. And never will you obtain impact without demonstrating value. Let's talk about impact. Tony Robbins says that the only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. Your imagination, what is in your mind? What goes on in your mind about yourself and about what you do? And how committed are you to it? Commitment is not getting something started. Commitment is seeing it through and looking at the bigger picture. It is about, for example, in your industry, looking at beyond generating revenue. How can I leave a legacy in this industry? How can I make sure things are done differently because I existed? In one of my businesses, it got to a point after, doing all we could, we were raking in the numbers that we wanted to rake, that we began to ask ourselves, what more can we do to change this industry? What more can we do to impact the generations that will come after us? It gets to a place of legacy when you know your value and you know what it is that you can commit to an industry. It takes you to the place of impact. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. What impact are you having? What impact can you go to your social media pages and communicate? What impact is this that you bring to the marketplace? Many of us are chasing money. But I'll tell you tonight, don't chase the money. Pursue impact. Don't communicate price. Don't focus on price. Communicate value. Value is what it is that you do for people that enhances their life, that improves their lives, that gives them a better experience just because they met you. So communicate solutions that people will pay you for on your page. Focus on communicating your impact. What will be the end result of interacting with you? So I want to challenge you now. Write down 5 areas in which you as an individual, as a professional, and your business are having an impact. Are there areas where you're having an impact? Are there areas where you can honestly say, we have brought change in this scenario because we exist? We are impacting the community in which we're doing business, or we are impacting the employees who work for us. Identify at least 5 areas in which you're having that impact, and then make that part of your content on your pages. Out of your value, you have a responsibility to create impact. The moment you have identified your value, you then begin to position yourself and your skills to create an impact. Value is what equips you to create wealth. It is what gives you the confidence to negotiate partnerships. Value is what will give you even the impetus to raise up your hand when opportunities call. This is what I want you to remember tonight. There is someone online who is waiting for you to show up. And when you eventually show up, you need to show up with your value, and you need to show up prepared to have an impact. Profit. The P in the VIP is profit. Profit follows value. Profit is nothing else but a byproduct of the value and the impact that you bring to the marketplace. And I want you to look at the word responsibility, because we say, even in my consulting, I say that it is my response to my abilities that determines how much income I can generate. Even if you are working for a corporate or for an organization, your own response to your abilities is what will determine how much you can generate. Because you can be very talented, you can have exceptional abilities, but you do not respond appropriately or accordingly to those abilities in a way that positions you to earn more or to generate more. The word responsibility is drawn from 2 words, response plus ability. How do you respond? Your ability is the value inside of you. That is your ability. So how do you respond? Your responsibility now is to work your value. As a brand, once we identified what our value is, in one of my companies, we are uniquely positioned as the only, or at least the first ever, sustainable event management firm in East and Central Africa. That is our value, that we introduced a sustainability model to the MICE industry. Now, our work, or what will determine how much we earn, is how we work that value, how we communicate that value, how we position it. Important for you to note, your income will only grow to the extent that you do. If you decide that you're not worthy investing in, so you don't learn, you don't attend workshops, you will not invest in gaining new skills, then what you earn right now will be the highest you will ever earn. And because we're in a fast changing environment, your earnings will dwindle. They will reduce because the world is changing swiftly, and if you're not changing with it, shortly you become redundant or irrelevant. So what is my advice? Grow, invest in yourself, enhance your value, make sure you're generating impact. And that will have a direct proportionate impact on your earnings. So ask yourself these questions. What problem do you or your business solve? What value will people pay you for? If there was going to be a commercial transaction between you and I, what is this that you have that I would pay for? What is this that is so valuable? Could be your expertise, your skills, your ability, the way in which you deliver a product. But what is this that will make me not negotiate on price? How valuable is your knowledge? Is it knowledge that I can easily obtain? How valuable, how exceptional? Then ask yourself, what expertise can I teach or share online? And how can I create both income and impact? Interestingly, more often than not, many people choose to separate impact and income. And people think that those should exist separately. But as an impact entrepreneur myself, and as an impact, as a business consultant who works with impact-oriented businesses, I'll tell you this: impact drives income. And you have to know how to leverage on your value and your impact to generate income. So impact drives income. But the reverse is also true, that when a business has learned how to generate higher levels of income, then it is able to have more impact in the community. Your business will not be sustainable in the long run. You're not going to have any meaningful community impact if you're not generating income. And that is the whole essence of the sustainable business model that I teach. You need to be able to build profitable, thriving enterprises that can then impact the communities in which you're doing business. But you will not generate that income unless you're able to demonstrate value and impact for those who you do business with. So let's move forward. How do we utilize organic marketing secrets for impact, for income and influence? I call this organic because it is not paid adverts. I'm not here to talk about paid adverts. I'm not here to talk about any inorganic methods of success on social media. I want to talk about organic because that's a starting point for many people. It's a starting point for many of us. And as you grow, you begin to segment your offerings, and you probably now want to go to paid ads. So this is the first thing you do. Number one, clean up your profile. You know, I find people who have their profile picture is a cat. And I ask them, if you're not a cat, why is your profile picture a cat? You know, or you'll find someone whose name is Mama Safi Kesho Yake or something like that. You know, well, the first thing is we are all online for different reasons. But I will say, if you are online for business, if you're online for business or you're looking to make meaningful connections, clean up your profile. If you can, get a good image, clean image. Utilize the description in your profile, like for Facebook. Many of you here might be on Facebook. Get the description area. Let's know what is it that you do. What do you offer? Make sure that when I go online, I can be able to relate with who you are and not be left guessing what on earth do you exist to do. You know? So clean up. That's a starting point. Clean up the profile. Number two, keep it positive. There's already too much bile in the world. There's already too many people fighting all over the place. Well, if you can, keep it positive. Let yours be a page that people can come for positive vibes. Let it be a page where people can come to learn. There's too many other options for gossip. There's too many other options for backbiting and chaos and abuse. And, and all the stuff that we are not talking about tonight. Keep it positive. Find ways to generate a positive vibe on your page. Number 3, engage. How do you engage? By sharing tips, by sharing value to your targeted audience. So you have to begin at the point where you ask yourself, who is my audience? Why am I on social media anyway? Because like I said, we are all online for different reasons. So start with your why. What is your purpose for being on social media? Who is your audience? This is how you build your brand. And I want to talk over the next few slides on 3 things. Attract a tribe, grow the tribe, and then convert your tribe. So like I said, make sure you're clear on your why. Be very clear on your why. If you're not clear on your why, any agenda on social media platforms will become your agenda. If you're not clear on your why, you'll become easily frustrated. If you're not clear on your why, you'll be carried away with every river that's flowing near you. So be clear on your why. Then ask yourself, on the journey of building your brand, you'll need to ask yourself, what is your personal brand? What do you represent as an individual? Think about it. What is your personal brand? If you were to be described in 3 adjectives, what would those adjectives be? If you were to be defined in topics, what would the topics be? Then choose 5 topics that are aligned with your brand. These are 5 things that you want to be known for. It depends on what your space is. It depends on what your interest is. It depends on what your profession is or what industry you are in. I'll give you an example. What are the topics that I want to be associated with? For myself, it is trade. It is business. It is innovation. It is the continent of Africa. Those are the things that I want to be associated with. What are yours? What do you want to be associated with? What is that thing that is aligned to your personal brand? We all know what a brand is. It is what we say about you when you're not there. It is what we know about you. It is not what you tell us. It is what we know about you. That is what your brand is. So if I take my topics, the ones I have just mentioned, the trade, this business and entrepreneurship, this innovation, is a continent of Africa. If I take those topics and subdivide them into 3 topics each, for example, under entrepreneurship, I could be talking about SME entrepreneurship. I could be talking about women entrepreneurship. I could be talking about entrepreneurship opportunities for the youth. If you do that, you find that you have more than enough content for 365 days. People ask, where will I get the content to post every day? Think about your topics. Pick your topics, subdivide them into subtopics, and then start to generate content. I'll give you an option. If you struggle with content creation, one of the solutions that we have with Ignite Trade Africa and one of my coaches is a content creation program that allows you to get what to post for 365 days. And the last thing is, do not shift your values. Do not shift your values to align to a tribe that is not your tribe. And this is why it's really important to know your why. Know your values. That will help you attract your tribe. If somebody comes to my page and wants to talk about European soccer, he's probably not my tribe, because that's not necessarily what I want to talk about on social media. So every single day, every working day, today is the 26th, I believe, of April, every single day, Facebook has 1.9 billion users every day. I'm not talking about cumulatively. I'm talking about daily usage. What does that tell you? If you have a Facebook profile, you're a media channel. You are a media channel. You have no restriction. You don't have a regulator. You don't even need to pay a frequency, a license for your frequency, but you're a media channel. Your profile is a billboard that is at your disposal. The question is, what do people see when they drive by your billboard? What do people see? What's the content over there? What do they draw to be your value? Could you make a decision to start communicating value on your page, to start driving impact on your page? So the first thing is attract a tribe. And we've talked about how you attract a tribe by building your brand. The second thing is grow the tribe. How do you do that? By sharing your expertise. So I say that you have a billboard available to you. You have 1.9 billion users if you're on Facebook, just Facebook alone. 1.9 billion daily users. These numbers were a little lesser before COVID. So look at what COVID has done, accelerated the audience that you have on your online channels. Now, you are an ad agency. Previously, you'd go pay an ad agency, they'll come up with an ad, and then you will, put the ad in the newspapers or in the magazines or even on a billboard. But now on your Facebook profile, for example, you're the ad director and the ad producer. So what are you advertising? Because you're solely responsible for your page, unless if you have outsourced it, what are you advertising? Here are some tips. Number one, set your profile to public. I find many people whose profile is private. I just want me and my family and my grandmother to be seeing what I post. Well, if that's what you want, it's fine. But if you're out there for business and you're looking to drive impact, what happens when you set your profile to public is that Facebook automatically uses its algorithms to extend your message to people who otherwise wouldn't have reached you. It's not even your business how those algorithms work. It's not my business either. But because my profile is public, I will get to contact somebody in Taiwan who I normally wouldn't have contacted. Allow people to follow you. Allow people to see your content. And this is if you really know your value and you're confident with that value. Share the content based on the 5 main topics that we've talked about. Be consistent. This is the thing with many of us. We post today because we're feeling very good and we're feeling inspired, or we have seen something postable, but then the other 364 days we will not post. You have to be consistent if you're looking to generate value from social media platforms. And so there is that 30-day content creation challenge for anyone who might be struggling with consistency or struggling with knowing what it is to post. Another tip for you, engage with your followers. For some of us, and this was a problem for me for many years, put something out there and somebody will make a comment, but I'm just wondering even how to respond. I'm just wondering, did you have to say anything on it? But people want to talk. People want to communicate with you. So engage with your followers. You might get inquiries that even get slide into your messenger. Engage. An important point, be authentic. Be totally authentic. Be yourself. And this does not mean becoming emotional. There's a difference. Be authentic. You can state your stand in a respectful manner, in a manner that is well researched. You don't have to be emotional and get, all blown up on the social media pages. Then think legacy. For many of you here who are running your businesses or you are recruiters, you know that we often will do a background check on what's on your page. So when you're posting, think legacy. Think legacy. then don't be obsessed with conversions. Don't see every follower as a possible shilling, you know. Don't be obsessed. Don't be a hunter on social media. Don't hound people thinking conversions. Instead, drive connections. Connect with people. Because when you have meaningful, authentic conversations, that leads to conversions. Then how do you convert your tribe? This is a whole webinar that we normally teach on conversion. It's on how you develop a leads funnel. This is what I will tell you. Your existing audience, when effectively engaged, could be your greatest asset. Those few followers that you have on your page, if effectively engaged, this could be your greatest asset, because remember, they have an audience as well. They have those who follow them. So you have the multiplier, the compound interest scenario happening on your page. Converting your tribe is not just about getting new leads and turning them into customers. It goes beyond that. It's also about regaining the trust of everyone who visits your page. It's continuous engagement. It is about capturing and maintaining the attention of your audience. It's about trust. And like I've said, this is an entire webinar that we could teach on leads generation and conversion on social media. So now what? I wish I could all see your faces, and I wish you could all hold out your smartphones. I have my smartphone with me. If you have a smartphone with you, you already have a microphone on your hands. You already have a stage. This is a stage, it's a microphone, you have a camera, you could record a podcast. It's not just about, Facebook and Twitter or LinkedIn. You could record videos that you post on YouTube. You could record podcasts, messages that go around the world. So what are you waiting for? The world is waiting for you. Is it that you have very few followers and you're thinking you cannot have any meaningful engagement? Well, Jesus only had 12 followers, and they were enough. They were adequate for him to have the impact that he had. He changed the world. How did he do it? He stuck to his message. He wasn't swimming with every river that was flowing. He stuck to his message. He knew his value. He knew what was resident inside of him. And he knew that the value inside of him was enough to cause an impact in the world. It was enough to purchase the souls of men. He pursued impact. He thought legacy. He didn't think one moment of excitement, post something to create some excitement or to start a scandal or whatever. No, he pursued legacy, impact. And for him, profit followed his value and his impact. And profit is a return that we all now believe in him. That is an increase. So what will it be for you? There's an opportunity, like I said at the beginning of my presentation, we could give you an opportunity. It's a half-day workshop that allows you to internalize content creation tools, the sales funnel module, and we talk about leveraging the internet for passive income. And passive income, again, is a whole topic. We talked about us being in the knowledge economy. There is a quote by one of the world's billionaires, and this is what he said: unless you can create a model that ensures that you're paid when you're asleep, then you will have to work for the rest of your life. A passive profit builder course is essentially a course that enables you create programs or courses that can be put on the internet, and you can generate a revenue from that. Do not underrate what you know. What you know, somebody needs it, and you can actually put it out there for sale. I've also talked about the 30-day content creation challenge. This is with Daniel, who is based in Israel, one of our partners. How do you know if this is for you? This is if you're starting out. If you're struggling with consistency, if you're now at the stage where you're looking, how do I monetize everything that I post? I'm posting so much, but how can I use this to generate new leads for me? That would be the opportunity for you. So thank you very much. I will quickly take a pause. I know time is really far much gone, but if we had a moment even for one question, Irene, I'd be happy to take it. Irene, you're muted.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kezi. You can go to the Q&A and post your question. I know we have about 7 minutes, but allow me to thank Kezi and kindly help me to thank Kezi by just going to the chat and saying what this has meant for you. I know that at least we have picked something tonight that will help many of us begin to position or reposition ourselves on social media. You know, it's amazing. There's so much to learn. I'm not the most tech savvy person. Those in the Kingdom Connect already know that I sweat a lot. I ask for help a lot. But the thing is, we can keep repositioning ourselves. And Kezi, this was amazing. Maureen Beth says, this has challenged me. Arispa says, oh, thank you, Pastor Arispa, for joining us. Says, thank you, Kezi. I've realized how much power and influence is available to me. Yvonne says, thank you, Kezi. Profit follows value and impact. So do we have, thank you for your comments. Keep them coming to encourage Kezi. Can you imagine she's paid for this? She's told us she has 3 social media coaches. And I know because she's my friend behind the scenes, I've seen the kind of money she has, paid, and yet she's giving us this for free. And allow me to also take the opportunity to invite you to the 1st of June so that together we can learn more. If you have any quick one, you can drop it in the question and answer. We have 6 minutes, so we can still respond to a question. And while we are doing that, allow me to read WhatsApp that came in yesterday from the UK. First of all, Kezi, somebody just created a WhatsApp group and called it just a quick update and then added me and Coach Betty Maura. But because it's somebody we know, we were like, okay, let's wait. What's the big thing? Then he says, from 5K to 1.3 M in one sweep, there's a God in heaven. I didn't sacrifice 5K to hear the coach. And then he asked what is his name again, telling us to follow up and reignite the desire. I wouldn't have earned that. It was there for me, but God had to connect me to you for information. So that's a testimonial that came in last night at 11 p.m. from somebody who attended this digital platform income impact things that Coach Betty and I hosted last year in November, and we had a guest coach. And I know Kezi will be introducing us to her coaches so that we can learn from her and her coaches. So when we call you for these conferences, for example, the one on the 1st of June, it's 12,500. But guess what? We have somebody who went from 5K, that's what they paid, to 1.3. And he even posted for us his bank statement, just in case we were not believing, 9,000 pounds. And then he also showed us how he transferred to his Kenya account. He's a Kenyan in the UK. So I'm just encouraging us, let us not perish for lack of knowledge. I want to go to the Q&A and see if there's a question. There's no question posted so far in the Q&A. Anne Gitao says, thank you, Kezi. I think I've lost that. But basically she's saying thank you. And Miriam is saying, I'm to reposition my social to monetize. A lot of us need to do that. Even WhatsApp. Like personally, I don't engage. If a person reaches out to me and their picture is a cat, I just don't take that conversation. I know they could be legit, but I'm just like, I don't have the energy to start from where this person's image is a cat, So let us clean up, and that includes all our socials, including Facebook and all that. Kezi, I want to hand it over to you. Do you have a closing remark before we invite Dr. Emma to pray for us? Doc, I hope you're still online. You will close for us with a word of prayer. Kezi?
I'm very grateful to have shared with us this evening. Grab one pointer, even if you don't take everything. take one thing, take the VIP model and implement it. You will thank me later. Thank you and have a good evening.